Well, hello everybody. Got a little project I'm working on today. It's going to bring you guys along. Got an interesting backstory on this gun. You guys have heard me say before that sometimes the story is as interesting as the gun to me. And this one's not quite that way, but pretty close. So you guys heard me talk about my son a little bit. He's 26 years old. He's a plumbing contractor, has his own business. Couldn't be more proud of him. He is just a stellar human being. Say if there's any good parts of me, he got them all. So I'm not sure there is any good, but yeah, I like to brag on my son, so I won't get too carried away, but he was doing a plumbing job for an older gentleman, and they got talking while they was working and talking about guns and firearms. And at the end of the day, the guy says, well, would you be interested in taking a gun for trade toward the payment for the job? My son says, sure, what do you got? So this is what he presented. Winchester Model 94 30-30. Of course, my son jumped all over it. He says, you bet, I'll take it. So here's a little bit of the side story. It's got a broken stock. And if we get it up to the camera close enough, the finish on the receiver here is terrible. It's almost like the bluing is peeled off. And I don't know, this gun was made in the 70s. If there's some Model 94 effects and arrows, maybe leave some comments. I'm interested if Winchester maybe had a bad run or something, because what's very unusual to me is the bluing on the gun and the magazine tube, or excuse me, on the barrel and the magazine tube is immaculate. So it's not like it was left out in the rain and just got a little surface rust or whatever. It's just this receiver. Yeah, I don't know, very, very interesting. Another interesting thing is somebody's put a Skinner barrel mount peep sight on it. I've seen these. I'm a big fan of Skinner sights. Yeah, the gentleman owns that, is a great human being, and stands behind his product very well. And yeah, Skinner sights, man, I just can't say enough good about them. But I've seen this in the catalog, never seen one on a gun. So what we're going to do today, oh, here's the other interesting part about it. The gentleman my son was working with had a replacement stock that went with the trade. So, of course, Carson thinking of me, he just says, oh, geez, that'll be a good project for Dad. He can put that stock on and get that gun running again. So that's what we're going to do today. YouTube is so weird about this kind of stuff. What I'm going to do is, and I'll show you how to do it. So if somebody's watching this and not sure how to change the stock on a Model 94, it is very simple. There's one big flathead screw. It's a bolt that goes all the way through to the bottom of the receiver. Pull that out and the stock just slides off. So I'm not going to film the act of that because I don't know. Me and YouTube's got crossways before, so I don't want to over something silly like this. So what I'll do is I'll pull the stock off, show you guys the gun with the stock removed. Off camera, I'll put the new stock on, and then we'll do some shooting. So that's what we'll do next. Okay, so that's what the rifle looks like with the stock removed. Of course, there's the broken stock. We'll slip the new one on and put it on. But I'll tell you, if you guys ever run across a deal like that where you have a damaged stock or a broken stock on one of these guys, super simple. I think the new stock comes from Boyd's. Not 100% sure on that, but Model 94, so many parts available. Yeah, and you know, kind of talk about that. I kind of dig that stuff. If I'm in a pawn shop and I see a gun and it's advertised, you know, gunsmith special, whatever, and I can take it home and repair it, man, I dig it. I think it's cool. So we're gonna put the new stock on. All right, guys, I was just gonna show you a little something here. I didn't show it too much, I didn't want to show it on video, but right inside of there was a little bit of an imperfection on the fit of that. So when I slid that on, it was hanging up the hammer spring. So when I slid that on, the hammer wouldn't come back. So if you're dealing with one of these, there may be just a little bit of fitting to go along with it, but certainly nothing to be concerned about. So we'll go and check this on. Okay, we've got the new stock on. I'm just going to show you some things here. See how the wood to metal fit is not perfect? There's just a little bit of gap. You know, I could spend some time and monkey around with that and get it to fit perfect. I'm not gonna. It's not a collector. This guy's a using rifle. Like I say, it belongs to my son technically. So, and we love 30-30s, but we don't really shoot 30-30s that much. Yeah, so like we just don't shoot 30-30s that much. I mean, we like them, and we have an affection for the Winchester Model 94. I don't know. I mean, I think probably everybody, every deer hunter in the United States has some type of an affection, some type of a story from a grandfather or father or uncle or somebody that loves the 30-30, and we certainly do. Tell you a quick story about the Winchesters with my dad. You know, you guys have heard my dad passed last March, so kind of try to think about him and tell some of the stories about him once in a while. But he loved the Model 94s, and he was truly not a gun aficionado like I am. Yeah, he had some guns. Yeah, he did some deer hunting. Yeah, he just, I come shooting once a week whether I want to or not. I just love it, and he just didn't. He went shooting once every few years, but he disliked the Marlins, and he never had owned one. And that's a hilarious story to me, because he called them a skunky Marlin. And I don't know where that name come from, but you guys have seen the channel. I have Marlins. I love Marlins. The 336 design, action-wise, is not to hate on the 94, but it's a much simpler design, and it takes optics better, it takes aftermarket sights better. There's some true advantages to the Marlin 336, but I'll tell you, Winchester lever gun in your hands is just true iconic Western U.S. history. So anyway, enough yapping. We're gonna get some shooting. I got a 6-inch target set at 100 yards. Never shot this gun. I'm gonna say that whoever owned this gun previous must have had some affection of shooting to put an aftermarket sight on it with this peep. So, and I've never shot one of these before ever, so you guys will get to see the first go of it. But show you the ammo we're shooting. I reloaded a bunch of, I bought, I don't know, a few hundred rounds of the Hornady Interlocks 170 grain flat nose, and that's, every one of our 30-30s likes them, use them. I mean, if we're gonna go hunt deer with the 30-30, that's what we're gonna take. So we're just gonna see where it's at. I'm probably not gonna adjust sights. I've got a 6-inch target, but I got a big clean sheet of paper. So we're just gonna shoot some groups. It's my son's gun. If he decides he wants to come and we'll spend some time together and do some fine tuning on the sight end, we will do that, but I'm not gonna do that today. So we'll just go ahead and shoot 3 groups at the paper, and we'll go have a look. All right, we'll walk up and have a look. Okay guys, well, I can't complain a bit. So of course, I'm kind of aiming over here, point of impact, kind of a 6 o'clock sight picture. So it's a little bit high, but here's the center. It's just a little bit to the right. I don't know if I'd even mess with that. Not a fantastic group. That's about a 4-inch group. Hopefully you guys can see that. But man, not terrible. I certainly wouldn't adjust the sights, I don't think, until I spent some more time with it. Let's go ahead and mark those. Boy, sure couldn't ask for a better day. It's about, I don't know, 35 or 40 degrees, 18th of December or January. Man, we've had a pretty mild winter. We love it now, but we might be hating it come summertime with no water. But just gonna talk about that rifle real quick. That thing has probably got the lightest trigger I've ever felt on a lever action rifle. Holy smokes. That thing, the first shot, it almost scared me because it went off with so little pressure on the trigger. So I don't know, I'm happy with it. Like I say, this is Carson's gun, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time. We're gonna shoot one more 3-shot group just to make sure that wasn't an accident, but I'm pretty pleased with it. I mean, I'd say if this next group goes good, I'd be very confident to go take that deer hunting, because 30-30 is a 150 yard gun no matter what, so with no optics on it for sure. So anyway, we're gonna shoot one more 3-shot group. All right, guys, well, let's walk up and have a look. If you guys noticed, I wear sunglasses all the time outside. I have blue eyes, and my eyes are pretty sensitive to the sun, but I've learned to start putting those clear glasses on when I'm shooting. I think these tinted lenses almost cause your vision, your clearness of the sights not to be quite as good. So anyway, let's go up and have a look. Hopefully we did just as good on that one. Well, all right, we didn't do too bad. I got a little bit of a flyer down here. It's dead center of the 6-inch square, but Here's the other two, still about a 4-inch group. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over that. If I had to go harvest a deer and put meat on the table for the family, I certainly could do it with that rifle, no question. I'm not gonna monkey with the sights. Yeah, certainly acceptable. You know, the gun's shooting right in here for sure. You know, I'm gonna call this a little bit of a flyer, but still, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the way that gun's shooting. We'll go ahead and mark them. All right, guys, well, I'm just walking back to the truck here, but you know, I don't know if a guy can have more fun than spending an afternoon at the shooting range with a Winchester. Almost said Marlin, but any lever gun as far as that goes. 30-30, definitely a classic, you know, deer caliber. It's kind of been forgotten, but I think in today's world, 30-30, I mean, still is one of the most popular deer cartridges in America. Leave some comments if you guys have a different idea. I mean, I know that when I go to a local hardware store, 30-30 ammo's on the shelf. There's still, you know, a lot of the old classics of the 270, 30-06, 308s, but I think 30-30 still has a big following for good reason. So it made me think of an article that I read by by Craig Boddington. He used to be a big gun rider, you know, a few years ago. I don't know, haven't seen him do much recently. I don't know if he's retired or what, but I'll never forget, he did a big article on 30-30s, and that guy loves 30-30. Talked about energy transfer, all kinds of different things. But anyway, we're gonna wrap the video up for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe.